What's going on, guys? Buddy Llama back again. Continuing on with this fun little project of give my 2 cents, my first thoughts on each rogue on Rogue Company. If you haven't played it yet, get yourself a copy. It's doing really well at this time right now. It's about the first week or so of public play and everything else. So if you don't have access to all the all the rogues, then definitely just keep in mind, get a feel for it. Talk to other people, get going. We're gonna talk about Saint, and before I jump into him, as I have been, I'll show you so far. I'm under level 20 right now, so game's still new. Still got about 8 hours of play. I've got favorites so far. Depends on your game match and your team build. But let's get into... Nope, I have no time on him, of course. Usually he's taken. He's kind of popular guy, and being a healer, that makes a lot of sense. I get a certain vibe from him that you would get from... certain people in Apex and everything else. Alright, so let's jump into it. Once a part of the elite pararescue unit, Saint joined Rogue Company to save lives and help those in need. Very, very admirable. One of the obvious key perks is his revive drone for his ability. Set a medical drone to revive a downed friendly anywhere on the map. And it does mean anywhere on the map, so it's pretty cool. So if you hear one of your teammates are dropped, send that. Now, obviously, it's going to kind of highlight and grab some attention to the enemy team, so hopefully your teammate is behind cover and somewhere where they can't see him. But usually, most of these Saints that I've played with so far, that come in and help out the team or whatnot, are usually also kind of cover fire, you're pushing a little bit, and just being really active on that. And I've seen some guys even do dual revive. It's actually pretty solid. If you got a Saint on your team, it's going to help quite a bit. It's very rare that I've seen so far a team not have a Saint, because you got the revive drone, and then his passive medical expert reviving a teammate heals both of you for a significant amount of time. Be wary of reviving when enemies are pushing. That's kind of an obvious thing. So just kind of be cognizant of that in your surroundings. A lot of people are gonna just frag you real quick, so that's why you got to kind of be a little active. You can't just sit there and heal. You're not gonna have an overshield. You're gonna be vulnerable. All right, let's get into this primaries, which there's one I already really like. Now again, I'm speculating based off what I've seen other people play. I've seen a lot of people use the MLX Mark IV, basically an M4 type. AR type, if you're familiar with that. So if you're coming from a game that has something similar to that, like the Commando from Black Ops 2, stuff like that, this is definitely be something that is going to be home to you. I will say this, it does have a scope, so you don't have iron sights or anything else like that. So be aware of that, because sometimes scoping up is going to slow you down a little bit, so you're going to be vulnerable. And we'll get into the perks in a sec. As you can see, I usually default to getting a primary I like and tearing that up really quickly. Mag size, reduced recoil, which is probably key. And if you can, obviously get to tier 3, depending on what you're using. If you're not switching out to a secondary, you're using your throwing axe or everything else, max it out. Mamba, I've talked about this a couple times, and some other ones, DMR, it's one of my favorite ones. As far as DMRs go, it's pretty solid. Reload time's decent. Increased mag size, obviously. You kind of want to go with that, so you don't have to worry about it. Handling, real smooth. Not bad. Very burst, pulse weapon type, and increased damage. So I like maxing out the Mamba. Not everyone does, and as the game continues on, I'm sure that might change, might not change. Executioner is a solid pistol. Good for what it does, right? Good for swapping out and kind of finishing off somebody. Definitely get into the rhythm of that. I rarely ever increase tiers on the sidearms, because I usually try to wait later in the match if we're doing well. I always try to get a primary. As I've said many times so far, I kind of avoid melee weapons, mainly because I don't use it. Now, it could be in part to having to use the right D-pad to activate it, so I haven't gotten a lot of practice at it. Probably go back into training mode and kind of get used to using that a bit. But just like anything else that you throw, it's got the very common tier moves. That's up to you. It's a personal preference. Smoke grenade. We know how to use that. Most of us do. I would probably go with that, seeing as you're going to have that healing drone and everything else, disorient the enemy team, and kind of give yourself a little leverage and advantage. Usually probably a good thing. You max that up, you get another one. Reduces movement. So I would try to get tier 1 at the very minimum on that. And then trip mine, claymore type thing, right? We all know what that does. Pretty solid. I've seen some people use it in creative ways, just like they do in any other game, and carrying 2. So I think as far as a healer, he's got a lot of support elements, gadgets that kind of make him a little more dangerous. Where you're not just a healer, you can kind of hold ground as well and kind of keep your team flowing. Evade's probably a smart one, right? Cloaked, probably, right? For those of you who don't want to be revealed to the enemies, it's probably a good thing. Helping Hand perk, I think, is probably your best bet to try to get early on. Or Evade, and again, I'm just speculating. I'd have to talk to other people who've played them, get a feel for what they're using so far. I'm a big fan of Headstrong if I can get it. Additional armor keeps you a little bit of little tankiness into your healer. Why not? Bounce Bank is interesting. Why not? So you don't have to worry about your health getting kind of low. That's actually a pretty cool perk I don't use often enough, which I should. And then Tracker Rounds with anything on any map. You want to have as much information fed to you and your team. Obviously, it's a great perk. It might take you a little while to get it and unlock it, maybe 1 drop or 2. But if I had to speculate, I'd maybe go with Evade. Trying to keep your Saint alive is probably a key thing, or kind of keep you unseen. But Helping Hand is obviously pretty cool. I mean, you kind of want to be able to revive teammates faster, and being a healer, I think that's kind of an optimal one. I want to say either one of these are completely fine. Most gadgets in this game so far, I would say, are personal preference, and also situation's going to dictate it. You guys know how I feel on melee, but having something else to chuck at somebody, I think, is probably smart either way. And to wrap it up, like I said, he's got 2 solid primaries, as most characters do on here. I'm kind of a little biased on anybody who has a shotgun, but there's some people who are solid of it. I default to Mamba. This one, the only kind of hesitant I have usually on getting this is that you're going to scope in on like a cog type scope. So that's unavoidable. It's going to be a little slow, so you're going to be supporting. You're not going to be... it's going to be a little tricky to 1v1 from what I've seen on like kill cams or whatever else, or watching my team while spectating. It's a little difficult to really 1v1 or 1v2 somebody with Saint using a Mark. Sometimes you're a little more flexible with the Mamba. Keep that in mind. Again, Saint, that's my 2 cents on it, my little opinion on that. I haven't played with him. I'll try to play with him maybe a little later today. I'm going to cut this, and then we're going to hop back and do the next one. Next person we got up is Scorch. Oh my god, I can talk forever about Scorch. I'll tell you in a sec. I'll be right back.